feet, keep me grounded as I reach higher than I see. Is there something there for me? Pulling back the reins, letting go again. I'm not afraid, I'm not. All my life, one page at a time, I'll show you my true colors. No, I won't apologize for the fire in my eyes. Let me show you my true colors.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to T Radio. It has been a while, but I am back, y'all, full time. I'm trying to do a show at least twice a week up until I have to start filming for my next TV show, which isn't until like in June. And so, so we're going to try to do as many shows as we can. I'm going to bring on all kinds of guests. If you don't know who I am a psychic medium, and my website is TessaLuna.com. But the real star of my show, y'all know, is my soul sister, Sarah. Now, Sarah has been on a lot of shows with me before, and her website is thealumnaproject.com, and you can find all that information down in the description below. Now, today we're going to be talking about empathy and HSP, and you would not believe how many people messaged me and said, what is an HSP? An HSP is a highly sensitive person, everybody, and that is exactly what me and Sarah are. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Sarah and start our show. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, T. Yay, it's so good to be back.
I know, it's been a minute, girl. Well, y'all know I had to film. I had 2 TV contracts I had to fill, and my life has been a hectic mess. So, yeah. So I'm just now being able to get back into the swing of things. So, Sarah, before we even get started, I want to hear about some of your adventures. I know you have been everywhere. Girls, monkeys, and elephants. Oh, my. What's been going on, girl?
Yeah, so life is really just magical. And what I found is that I really love working in places all over the world that are those sacred power spots. And beyond that, I love bringing people to those sacred power spots and initiating them to the energies there and to all of the beings that hang out in those power spots. And so I've got an upcoming trip to Borneo, end of April, beginning of May, and that only has 2 openings left, but we're actually going to be working with the orangutans in the jungles of Borneo, and we're also going to be working with star beings. We get there right on Earth Day at the peak of the Lyran meteor shower, so it's going to be a really potent time. And then I also have upcoming trips to Africa, South Africa specifically, working at Zulu shaman initiatory sites. So, yeah, life's been really cool. And if I could get tea on a plane for 24 hours, then I'd be bringing you with me, girl.
Not going to happen, girl. I was just talking about I will not go out of country. Isn't that weird? Because I basically live at the airport, and I will go anywhere in the United States. And I have been to Canada, but I am terrified of going to other countries. I've been like that my whole life. I'm not saying it's anything psychic. It's probably something just really internal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just real scared, girl. Yeah. So
yeah.
I think
and there's a lot of stigma. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of judgment. You know, as soon as you're put in a situation that you don't know what's going to happen, that can be loss of control. But what I found is that every country I've been to, the people have been just so warm and welcoming, and they really just hold you through it, and the earth energies hold you through it too. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, my goal is to go to all the chakra centers of the earth, and I know that you've done some of those, and that's my goal. And at some point, I'll get up enough nerve to say, you know what, I'm just gonna go. But I'll probably have to go with Sarah to hold my hand the whole time because I'll be freaking out. I will be freaking out. Yes, girl. Yes. Mm. Okay, everybody. I guess we better get on to the topic of the show. I was like, when are you going to be talking about it? Okay, so let's get started with empathy. Now, if you are an empath, you already know what empathy is, and so there's no explaining there. But for those of you who are not familiar with what an empath is, it's kind of the ability to take on the energy around you, like emotional-wise. So say that you walk into a room and you're happy and full of spirit, and then somebody's over there in the corner crying, and now you kind of feel that emotion and you're kind of getting upset yourself, and you almost feel the overwhelming need to help that person. That's empath. Or maybe you see a commercial. Okay, let's just be honest, people. I cannot watch the commercial about all the animals at the Humane Society. Why do they do that? That freaks me out. I'm like crying at 3 o'clock in the morning. Just let them out of the cage. Oh, my God. So, yeah, so that's empathy, when you can't even deal with things like that. So, yeah, and then an HSP is take empathy and times that by 10, because the worst thing about being an HSP is you just don't get the feeling. It's almost like being clairsentient. You can almost, you can taste it, hear it, see it, feel it, so on and so on. It's like encompasses your whole being. Like, I know sometimes if I'm upset for 3 days, I'm a hot mess, and it will be something so stupid that anybody else would have shrugged off, and I'm like literally in bed under the covers for 3 days, a hot mess. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, well, it's so fascinating because really empathy's been around for a while, but the HSPs is becoming big nowadays just because of a lot of the children that are being birthed into this world. Almost all of them are HSPs, and they're really special. But I agree. It's one thing to be empathic and to be impacted by other people's emotions and their energy. It's a completely different thing to be an HSP, a highly sensitive person, because not only are you impacted by their emotions and their energy, but you're also impacted by things like loud noises, bright flashes, and you really take all of that in. So even if I have a friend who is, at a concert somewhere, if I start thinking about that friend, I get so overwhelmed with the concert energy. It's like I can feel all the people around them, and I can taste the alcohol, and I can hear the loud noises, and it's like jarring for your entire energy system to be that deeply ingrained in someone else or something else.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what a lot of people don't understand between empaths and HSP, because they're like, well, I'm a highly sensitive person. Well, there is a degree system that it goes to. So I say empath, if you feel it and you want to help and you're easily able to shake it off, then you're probably most likely an empath. If it just consumes you and you just get overwhelmed and lost, then you're probably like us and you're an HSP. So let's talk about and before we move on to coping mechanisms, let's talk about intuitive empath, because there is a difference. Now, somebody asked me this the other day. I'm trying to think of her name. I can't remember. I think it was Shelly. Asked me, T, what's the difference between an empath and an intuitive empath? Now, mind you, I have always been an HSP with intuition and clairvoyance. So this is just the norm for me. So this is the first time somebody's actually asked me the difference, like a normal person that does not experience what I experience every day, because we forget, don't we, Sarah, that other people can't do what we do. And so we walk around and I think, oh, what? You can't, what? And then I have to go, oh, my God, wait. And I always forget that other people cannot do it. Yeah, I'm like, oh, you don't see that ghosts over there? That's so weird to me. You know, it's just so weird to me. But there is a difference between intuitive empath and an actual empath. Now, an intuitive empath kind of senses. You don't really have to say. Now, a normal empath kind of relates off of what's going around them, that they can see, that they can hear, that they can, you know, see with their own eyes and experience. But an intuitive empath is more intuitive with it. So say that you have a coworker that's like, I'm fine, everything's fine, but you go over there to your desk and you're like, okay, I know something's wrong, I can't say it, but they keep telling you they're fine. But you know, that would be more the intuitive part of it. You sense something's wrong even though you're not outwardly seeing that something is wrong with somebody, and that's kind of the difference. So there's kind of a fine line between that, because I think that all people kind of sense things, but maybe not to the degree that an actual intuitive empath would sense it and want to reach out and keep bothering that person to tell them. So that would be the difference. That. Now, if we move on to coping mechanisms, I'm going to tell everybody a secret. This is why I always bring Sarah on my show, because, and everybody knows tea don't ground. Tea don't ground. Let's not act like anything's changed in the past 9 years. Tea don't ground, okay? So, but I'm a different person, and I'm on a different frequency. So, me, how do I cope with it? I close my heart chakra. I don't wear the rose quartz. I don't wear the pink stones. I don't wear anything pink. I keep my heart chakra closed. And the only time I open it is my green with my green stone, because tea wants some abundance. But that's about it. But when it comes to actual overwhelming for somebody who's not tea, that's where Sarah comes in, because she can tell you how to cope with it by grounding. So I'll just hand it on over to Sarah.
Yeah, tea's kind of like an alien. I mean, she is an alien, but she's kind of an alien when it comes to how she copes, right, versus how everyone else would cope.
Right.
So there's several different ways that an empath or an HSP can learn to hone their gift and to work with their gift, because this truly is a gift. It just might not seem like it every now and then, because things can get heavy. Things can feel heavy. So first and foremost, just keeping yourself energetically clear is really powerful. And what do I mean by energetically clear? Well, if you think of everyone as tossing mud, and all of their emotions and all their feelings and all the junk that they've been through in the day is mud, pretty much every single day you come home covered in mud, right? And so how do you get the mud off? Like, how do you clear everyone else's junk so that you can just be you and purely you and solely you without being affected by others? My favorite thing to do is take a sea salt bath. Sea salt is the most wonderfully clearing, energetically high-frequency option that you can have for yourself. And if you don't have a bathtub, that's okay. You can, take sea salt and like olive oil or cooking oil in your house and just go step in the shower and rub it all over you and stand there for a minute and just let it soak in. So that's a first coping mechanism. And a second, as she said, is grounding. Grounding is wonderful. And you don't have to ground into the earth. Right now, the earth is going through a lot of shifts and changes. We've got a lot of things going on galactically, celestially, all of that. And so if you want to ground into the earth, you're more than welcome to. A lot of people feel comfortable doing that. Grow those roots down, baby. Inhale that energy deep into your body. But if you don't want to ground into the earth, you can ground up. And grounding up means that you're pretty much reversing those roots, reversing that grounding cord, and sending it high into the sky, into the universe, and into what I call source, or that diamond in the sky. And you can connect into that and then allow that beautiful, sparkly, high-frequency energy to come down and really emanate through your entire being. So what else, T? What other coping mechanisms can you think of, Little Miss Alien?
You know what I do, and I'm just going to put this out there because I don't, I do turn off my chakras. I do all that. I cope mainly with controlling my chakras, turning on the ones I need, turning off the ones I don't, and so on and so forth, and that's another show. But one thing that I do, and you talked about the shower, Sarah actually taught me this. I actually thought she was going to bring it up because she actually taught me this. But if you take a black stone or even like a rainbow tourmaline or an onyx or something like that, and you stand in the shower and you put the stone above you and let it hit the water first and then let it hit you, that's another way that you can do it, because the oil and the sea salt, you're scaring me, Sarah. You're scaring me. I can't do that, girl. I can't do that. So that's, but I can do like the stone, like above your head, or even you could put some of the harder stones in your actual bath water with the sea salt, and that will help too. Yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. Your stones, your crystals, they all have different frequencies and different vibrations, and some of them will send you through the roof because they're so high vibration, and other ones will really just work to calm you and bring your energy field to this nice peaceful hum. And the peaceful hum is where you want to be if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling affected by others. Right.
Right. So okay, what about, and let's make this, because let's make this scenario, because this is what we all do every day. What about when you're not at home, Sarah? Let's say that you're in a workplace with a ton of people, and let's say you don't have your own individual offices, but that you have your own cubicle, and so people walk by, and what can you do to help yourself with your work? You can't take a shower, you can't really sit there and ground yourself, so what can you do?
Well, let's say you're in a cubicle. Once again, a few different options. So I am a firm believer in the power of frankincense. Frankincense oil, frankincense smell. Really, frankincense grounds out any kind of transient energies around you, and it's a wonderful transmuter of energy, which means that it brings anything icky or dark to light. So you can actually kind of make your own mist and just put a couple drops of frankincense oil with water into like a little spray bottle, and you can mist your area. You can also get some of those wonderful grounding stones. You can get that black tourmaline, you can get that obsidian, you can get those onyxes, and you can actually grid your work area. And one of my favorites, if I'm out and about, or even if I'm sitting in front of a client and all of a sudden I start kind of getting poked or feeling like I'm taking on some of their gunk, is I just close my eyes and I just repeat to myself, I am the sun. I am the sun. Because if you think about it, the sun is the brightest, hottest, burning thing in our universe. And nothing can penetrate the sun, right? And so really I just see myself and my energy field as those flames, and that tends to keep all of the icky stuff, all that mudslinging that happens in the workplace, tends to keep it away from you. What about you two? What do you do, like when you're traveling or when you're filming, when you're in these crazy haunted areas?
Oh, God, this is every day. This is like my life. Well, the one thing I did was I made myself this necklace, and it has no pink stones, by the way, y'all, but it has, like, all the stones that I would need. One is my purple fluorite. Y'all know I love that. Sarah's got me obsessed with turquoise now. Never liked it before, Sarah. And then it has the rainbow tourmaline in it. So, and I wear that when I go to these places, and that really helps me control my chakras. I think most of the time, and here's another thing. I've seen these spirits my whole life, so it's like the norm. So they don't really affect me, but sometimes, like Sarah says, they can kind of attach to you, and then that's a problem. So I basically just kind of turn off my chakras and just kind of make myself not available to the spirit world. If you're spiritual, you know what I mean, not available. Like I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm like invisible, like my invisible cloak type thing, I guess you could say. And then when I leave these places, which are a lot of them, when I leave these places, what I usually do, and this, I know this is usually for homes, but tea's different. I put black Himalayan sea salt along my door frames of my vehicle, and so when I get in, everything attached to me falls off outside my vehicle door. It's the same kind of thing I do with my house, only I use pink Himalayan sea salt on my door threshold, so when people come in, you know, they don't bring their junk with them. Well, it's kind of the same way, except when I get in the car or the vehicle. And you know what? I'll do it to the camera crew's car, and they're just looking at me, and I'm like, everybody's going to get their door like this. Don't play with me. You can't get in the car unless I do your side of the door. So I'm like doing all the door frames with the black Himalayan sea salt, even the trunk. Don't put that equipment in here till I'm done. And that's what I do, and it kind of drops it off. But while I'm there and experiencing it, man, that's a different story, because actually I've never really found a way for them not to be able to attach themselves or anything else. There's really nothing I've ever used that has worked. Maybe Sarah knows something that might work.
Let's see. So when I've been in super icky houses or done like house clearings, like been at haunted places and things like that, I will use the frankincense oil on me, and that tends to keep things away. It's almost like spraying lemon in your cat's face, right? It's like, no, we don't want this. This is yucky. Let's see, what else have I used? Really, strict boundaries is really important for any empath or HSP. And so even just saying to yourself, like, these things are not allowed to bother me, these things are not allowed to connect to me, can be really powerful. Because as soon as you get in a state of, like, fear or, oh, God, it's on me, or, oh, it's going to affect me for the rest of the day and it's going to make my night crappy, things like that, you're literally opening that door. You're setting it up for yourself to get, like, a psychic attack, right, or an empathic attack. And so it's really important to always hold yourself as, I am powerful, I am the sun, you guys can't mess with me, and then just go from there, right? Always hold that energy.
Right. Well, that's something to try, because, like I said, I haven't really done anything. I have done, like, the saging, like sage the place before we walk in, or things like that, or sage each other, or sage other people. But you know what I have found that does through my own experience? I found that you don't get, and who's looking for a haunting? I guess this is if you don't want a haunting, but if you're on a TV show and you have to experience a haunting for the show, I guess you can't do this. But I have learned that if I sage us first, nothing really happens. But if I do it after and don't do it first, it's like we have a really good show and then I'll sage after. But if I do it first, it's like, okay, guys, it's like my fault. Nothing's going on.
Yeah.
We got to come back and try again. But I still, I'm going to try that. But I struggle with that. I struggle with, like, grocery stores and things like that. I think that's the worst thing. I think that's a lot of problems with a lot of people, is like the grocery store and going out in public and people that you have to encounter. I think that's the worst part, because you can't always be like T and stay up in your house like a hermit all day, because that's basically what I do when I'm not working, is I stay in my hotel room or I stay in my house. And it's funny, because I'll send, like, somebody out to go get, like, all my stuff, and they'll be like, really? This is my job? I'm like, yeah, you get paid. Go ahead and do it. So yeah, but I send them to stores. I send them everywhere. And, yeah, because I can't go out in public because it's a freaky thing. But I guess that's really no way to live, is it?
No, not at all. And I can tell you that I used to be in the restaurant business, and I waitressed for a while, and I bartended for a while. And I had a really hard time waitressing, because you're literally you're within like 6 inches of full all the time. And each table you would go to, you would feel the energy of that table. So if it was a couple fighting, it's like you walk over to that table, now you're all pissed off. And if it was someone who was sad, you walk to that table and then you're sad. And if it was like a party, that was the best thing ever, because then you would just be in empathic party mode. And so I found waitressing to be really hard for me to hold good boundaries. But as soon as I got behind the bar, there was this kind of subconscious line that was drawn in me that was like, the bar that's my wall. That's my protection. And I never had a problem with taking on people's junk as a bartender. So really fascinating too, maybe psychosomatic, right? My mind just believes that this piece of wood in front of me is the wall. so nothing ever happened. Yeah.
Right. And I get that. Okay, and before we go, and I know this was a 30-minute show. I don't know why I didn't make this an hour show, you guys. I guess I figured it's the first show. We wouldn't have a lot to say, but me and Sarah always have a lot to say, so I promise the next show will be an hour, y'all. But if I had to ask you, Sarah, hey, I get what you guys are saying, but I just need something for right now. So give me one gemstone that you would recommend somebody to get a bracelet, a pendant, something in to help them right now.
I would say smoky quartz. Yeah, because smoky quartz not only holds a high vibration and it's grounding and protecting, but it also transmutes energy. So it takes that low frequency energy and turns it into high frequency energy. It does all the work for you. And
see, and my favorite is the rainbow obsidian. I think I like that the most because it helps with not only negativity but depression. And I feel like sometimes I get burned out in the work that I do. And I feel like, oh, God, I don't want to do this anymore. And I get, like, really bad thoughts, like I'm just going to walk off set and all this. And I've done that, people. If you watch my videos, you know that. But I get, like, upset sometimes. And I feel like the rainbow obsidian kind of helps clear not only out the negativity but the depression. I haven't used the smoky quartz. I do have a smoky quartz, but I always feel like, oh, no, because me and quartz, girl, I always feel like those are man-made stones, and I always like, those are for humans. I can't use that. So I always stay away from the quartz. But I've never tried it, but it might help. I'm gonna try that and see how that works. Okay, you guys, before we go, I want to give you our Facebook pages. Mine, of course, is TessaLuna Lluvia. And Sarah, what's your Facebook page for your website?
It's the Illumana Project. So ILLUMANA, illuminate your mana, illuminate your soul's deepest wisdom.
I like that. I like that a lot. So if you guys haven't gone over to her website or her Facebook page, head on over, give her a like. I know we have a lot of callers tonight with their hands up, and we didn't take calls tonight because the show was so short. But the very next show that we do, I will try to do an hour show. We will take callers, and I'm not sure what we're going to talk about yet because I'm going to be honest with you folks. Me and Sarah just kind of fly by the seat of our pants, but don't you love it when we do that? Because then the show is just real. It's just honest and real, y'all. So I don't know what we're going to do next. If you guys have any suggestions, you can send it to Sarah on Facebook or me on Facebook or hit us up on our website or even message me here at Blog Talk Radio. Now, all my shows will also be on SoundCloud and on YouTube, on my main YouTube channel, which is Psychic T. And so, yeah, you can find these shows anywhere. And so sometimes we might be broadcasting here. Sometimes we might be broadcasting there. I don't know. You'll just have to keep up with us on Facebook because we'll both post where we're at. So, yeah, so anything you want to say before we go, Sarah?
Just know that if you are feeling impacted by other people's stuff, that there is a way out of it, right? And so please know that. And if you need assistance, reach out and get help. I'm here for you. T's here for you. Both of us are highly psychic. We can easily tap in and see what's going to work specifically for you, because each of us are different. Our energy fields are completely different and how we're impacted.
Perfectly said. Okay, everybody, thanks for listening in. Look out for our next show, and we'll talk to you again next time. Bye, y'all.
Standing in the cold and the frozen wind, I'm leaving you behind, but it's not the end. No, no, no. Walking on the plane as I hold my breath. It's gonna be a week till I breathe again. No, no, no. And I know that you hate it, and I hate it just as much as you. But if you can brave it, I can brave it.